Hey everyone, and welcome. So today, we are going to dive into a really simple but super powerful method that's designed to boost your speaking skills. We're talking about sounding more natural, more confident in pretty much any conversation.
So let me ask you something. Do you ever feel like you want to speak with more confidence? Or maybe just understand conversations a little bit more easily? You want to get your point across clearly, and you want to get what other people are saying without that hesitation. But for some reason, something's holding you back. If that sounds familiar at all, then you are definitely in the right place.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with what I call the confidence challenge. Then we'll build a solid foundation with some listening practice. After that, we'll get into the building blocks, some key vocabulary. Then we'll activate it all with recall practice. And finally, we'll work on fluency with the shadowing technique. It's all going to lead you down your path to progress. So let's jump right in.
All right, so let's talk about the biggest hurdle for so many of us. It's that jump, moving from just knowing the words and the grammar to actually using them in a real conversation. That gap between theory and practice, that's where confidence just seems to vanish, right? Well, the method we're going through today is designed to be a super strong bridge right across that gap. So, step one, it actually starts with your ears, not your mouth. Seriously, the whole goal here is to just listen to a conversation and get the main idea, the gist of it. Don't stress about catching every single word. So let's listen to a quick example. It's a pretty typical workplace chat that we're going to use for this whole explainer.
Okay, so it starts with Alex, right? He's just checking in on a project plan. This is the kind of everyday thing you'd hear at work, which is exactly why it's so perfect for practice.
And then Mia replies. She explains there's a little bit of a delay. She's waiting on some info from her colleague, Tom. See how it just keeps the conversation flowing? Totally natural. Now, Alex's next question. This one's pretty important. It introduces a key phrase that we are absolutely going to focus on in just a minute, so listen closely for it.
And there's the answer from Mia, straight to the point. She gives us that last piece of the puzzle. Sarah is the new team leader. It's simple, it's clear, perfect.
Okay, so now that we've heard the whole conversation, let's start breaking it down into its building blocks. We're talking about the key vocabulary here. And trust me, getting a handle on these core words is absolutely essential. It helps you understand what you're hearing, and it helps you speak with a whole lot more confidence.
First up is in charge of. This is a huge one. When someone is in charge, it just means they have the responsibility to manage or control something, right? So in our example, Sarah is now responsible for the project. You're going to hear this phrase and probably use it all the time.
Okay, next up we've got leading. This one's pretty straightforward. It just means guiding or showing other people what to do. You might remember from the full conversation that mentioned someone else used to lead the team. So yeah, it's all about that direction and guidance.
And last but not least, deadline. Who doesn't know this word, right? It's that critical time, that final day when something absolutely has to be finished. In the chat we listened to, the deadline for the project plan is Friday. Knowing this word is, well, it's non-negotiable in any professional setting, for sure.
All right, now for the fun part. This next step is all about activation. This is where we stop just passively learning and start actively speaking. What we're doing is forcing our brain to pull out that information on demand. It's kind of like building a muscle, right? You're strengthening those connections in your brain that make speaking feel way more automatic. So, you ready to try it? I'm going to ask the question, and I want you to try answering it out loud wherever you are. No one's listening. Okay, here we go. Who is in charge of the project now? How'd you do? The answer is Sarah is in charge of the project. See, it's a super simple exercise, but it does so much to build that really crucial link in your brain between a question and the right answer. Okay, let's do one more. You're doing great. Here's the next question. When do they need to finish the project plan? Try to remember that conversation we listened to earlier. And the answer is they need to finish it by Friday. You see how that works? It feels simple, but it is an incredibly effective way to take what you know and make it active, something you can actually use. And now for our final technique. This one is all about getting that fluency, that natural sound. It's called shadowing. And honestly, this is a huge favorite among language learners for a good reason. It doesn't just train your vocabulary, it trains you in the music of the language. The rhythm, the tone, the whole flow of how people actually speak. So how do you do it? It's really straightforward. First, you listen to a line from the conversation. Then, you immediately repeat it out loud. But here's the key. You have to try and copy the speaker exactly. Don't just say the words, try to match their rhythm, their tone, their intonation. So if they say,
Yes, that's the deadline. You say it with that exact same emphasis.
Okay, so we've gone through all 4 of the key steps. Now, let's put it all together. Let's look at how this becomes a practical routine, something you can actually do every single day to see and, more importantly, feel real progress in your speaking.
And here it is, the whole cycle, your 4-step routine. It's so simple when you see it laid out. Step 1, listen to understand. Step 2, learn that key vocabulary. Step 3, practice answering questions to activate it. And step 4, shadow the speakers to get that fluency. I mean, think of this as your complete workout for confident speaking.
Okay, but here's the thing, and it's maybe the most important part. Repetition is the key to success. This just nails it, doesn't it? You can study theory for hours and hours, but it's the active practice, the doing. That's what actually builds the muscle memory. That's what makes speaking start to feel effortless.
And that really brings us to our final question for you. How are you going to use this simple idea of repetition this week? Because really, turning this whole method into a regular habit, well, that's your real path. That's how you become the confident, clear speaker you really want to be.